All right, this episode is going to be pretty fun. We are talking with Merci Mercado, Juan, one of the founders of this company, and they're selling Sal Ducasano worm salt. They're doing chapulines, which is grasshoppers. So yeah, if you ever have tried eating ants or grasshoppers or having worm salt, this is one of those companies that is making it. So it's a pretty interesting story about business, creating a business, selling these edible insects. So stick around and let's learn a little bit more about Merci Mercado. All right, Arte Agave podcast. I'm here with Juan from Merci Mercado. Juan, I got to tell you, when I first heard about eating ants and grasshoppers, I'll be honest with you, I was kind of freaked out many, many years ago, until I had a chance to meet you all. And I've been down in Mexico and sat at a bar drinking mezcal and just ate some grasshoppers. And it's become pretty normal for me in my life. So I want to know, man, how did you, one, how did you start this business? And then I'd love to get to know you and your background, but how did you start a business of grasshoppers, ants, and worm salts and all this kind of fun stuff?
Sure thing, absolutely, Walter. A real pleasure, and thank you again for the invitation. To make a long story short, because I'm not gonna take credit for the rest of the co-founders. So we are four co-founders. It's one brother, one sister, and I'm the sister's husband, and there's another fourth co-founder who's the brother's wife, and the sister is my wife. She was Viridiana. She was the very first one who came up with this idea. And the funny thing, just like everyone else when they bump into grasshoppers for the first time, that was our experience as well. We of these four co-founders, you have three from Mexico, one from France, and the three that were from Mexico, we never ate grasshoppers or insects, edible insects as kids. I mean, we never had that in our diet. So the very first time in our lives that we tried grasshoppers was as adults, right? And it was a their situation when we were at a party and we were drinking here and there, like a little mezcal, a little tequila, and then I saw for the very first time the grasshoppers at the center of the table, and I had the very same reaction that many people have. It's like, is that an insect? Like, I'm not gonna eat an insect, right? So that was my experience, and that my wife was the one who came up with this idea because she was working for the Mexican embassy a while back. She was in charge of the relationships between the Mexican producers and the markets in the United States, and she got a phone call from a very famous chef in the United States, and he was looking for grasshoppers, and my wife was representing Mexico in the sense like Mexican producers. She started making phone calls, and she could not find any single producer of edible insects in the United States or from Mexican origin importing that into the United States. So eventually she left the government service, but the idea stuck with her, right? And again, as adults, we tried the grasshoppers for the first time. We loved it, and we loved the idea not just of being a product that is really healthy. It's very sustainable, right? And it's versatile in the sense that you can use it everywhere, like in so many recipes, etc., etc. And the most important thing for all of us here at Merci Mercado is that it has to be delicious, right?
Right.
And it could be as sustainable as you want, and it could be as healthy as you want. But if it's not delicious, forget about it. I mean, we're not.
Nobody wants disgusting ants. Yeah.
There you go. We're not gonna eat it, much less we're gonna make a business out of it. But eventually, my wife started, developing the contacts. It took several years to convince the U.S. government that grasshoppers were edible, and that they were healthy, and that the process behind it is top notch, and there's nothing to be concerned about, right? And at the same time working with the U.S. government in parallel, working on certifications, just making sure that that the supply chain process works, etc., right?
So nobody here in America was putting grasshoppers and ants in a jar and selling it to consumers.
As far as we know, we were the very first company authorized by the FDA to legally import edible insects from pretty much anywhere else in the world, from everywhere in the world. So it was from Mexico. But then the funny thing is, like, about Merci Mercado, grasshoppers, edible insects. The funny thing is that we don't usually see ourselves as an edible insect company. Merci Mercado has always been defined as a gourmet products company that happens to have edible insects as one of the flagship products, right? And that's the other thing, because when you are in the industry and you start getting to know more people, getting to more and more companies, etc., people, you have a lot of companies that they bring edible insects to the market, and but we are not like that. We never kind of clicked with that frequency. In our case, has been always about, this is a Mexican food product company. This is a gourmet food product. This is a very exquisite, high quality product that we're bringing from Mexico, right, to the American market. And more than looking at it from the perspective of, it's just a kind of a weird thing to do, or like the fear factor challenge. Right. We have to understand that you have an entire portion of Mexico, a big chunk of the Mexican territory, that their diet, their social behavior, their economic system revolves around the grasshoppers and edible insects, right? A lot of people eat that on a daily basis. Is part of their history, part of their culinary heritage, etc., right? So, and we work with a lot of producers. We work with a lot of companies. It's medium, small, big size companies in southern Mexico that source the grasshopper for us, right? And then Merci Mercado purchase the product from them. We then apply the production process, etc., and that's how we bring the product to the market.
Yeah. So do they like, is it like a grasshopper farm down in Mexico somewhere, like, or is someone just, I don't know, I always think of someone with like just a big net going around grabbing these things, like.
Indeed, one of the very interesting things about the concept of farming, right? When we say farming in English, it's different when we say farming in Spanish, in Mexican Spanish. Yep. When we say farming an insect or farming any animal, we picture a facility where the food production process takes place kind of a mechanized way, more automated way, or like a highly sophisticated or mechanized methodology, to bring the product to the market, right? Like I'm thinking about like a chicken farm and everything, right? But in the case of farming in Mexico, it's a little bit different. I mean, you produce products, but farm is not necessarily subject to mechanization. It could be just an open space, right, where you have the chickens, the cows, and the grasshoppers just living freely, and then you just collect them and just take them into the food production system, right? So to answer your questions, there's no actually a farming method developed in Mexico because of the specific nature of the grasshopper. I'm not an expert, but I'm not a scientist by far, and I'm not an expert on insects or edible insects, but I understand that the reproduction process of the grasshoppers is kind of a little complex, a little delicate. So it's very difficult to really farm them or to have those grasshoppers inside or in an enclosed space, right? Right. It's kind of difficult to do that. So what you have is just fields, open fields. They could be private property or communal property, and then you have people, families. There are economic units that are called cooperatives
Yep.
Those cooperatives, like they as one of their economic activities, just go out there and capture the grasshoppers, right? And you can see how interesting sometimes the capturing the grasshoppers is, because people wake up very early in the morning, and they bring their nets, they go to the fields, and they capture the grasshoppers before the sun rises, because once the sun rises, the grasshoppers kind of wake up, they get warmed up, and they start jumping around all over the place. So you need to capture them very, very early in the morning, right? So, and then they bring them to collection facilities where, Merci Mercado team members, they just select the best product and then introduce them into the production system.
Got it. Speaking of the sun going down, I think the sun went down on your video there. It's hard to see you.
Okay, how do you propose that? Let me see if I.
Do you have any light? Any light in your room? Oh, that's a little better. I don't know if that's the sun again.
Let me see. Just give me 1 second. Let me turn on a light here.
You just went dark for a little bit.
I don't know if that. Oh, or maybe I can do this. I can switch my position.
There you go. That's perfect. Yeah. I don't know if he can stay there.
Yeah, I can do this.
That's really good. Yeah. Now we can see you again. Perfect.
Okay.
Awesome. So how long has the company been? How long have you guys been going for?
As a business unit, as a revenue generating unit, I would say we're close to 4 years now.
Yeah.
But the project has been around for more than 10 years, right? Yeah. It's like a 6-7 years it took us to develop that relationship with the FDA, to convince them about the virtues and the qualities of the products, and in order to get the authorizations to bring the products into the U.S. territory, right? That's what took the longest. But once we had it, then as a business, developing the relationship with the clients, getting the product known in the market, I would say close to 4 years.
Wow. So you've been doing it for so long without a profit. Why continue, right? I mean, you did it for so long, and now you've only recently been started to making money the last few years. Like, did you guys just sort of want to stop and say, I don't know if this is worth it? But what was the driving force of saying we're going to keep doing this? We know it's going to kick off.
Correct. If you take a look at it from the purely short-term economic profit, yes, the company should have shut the doors like a long time ago. So definitely, it's a passion that drives us. I mean, we are deeply in love with the product, the story, the history that we have been building, the impact. We can see the impact that our company has in society. We can see it with people really, really try the products for the first time. When they know better about what drives us, the driving factors behind these decisions, and how we're doing it, how sustainable the products are, how the positive impact that our company is having in society. I mean, everything builds up, right? And obviously the economic potential of this enterprise is enormous. I mean, and the funny thing is that we have seen it, like the pandemic. The pandemic for us was a blessing in disguise, because we saw a lot of companies that were trying to replicate a little bit our business model or ideas, et cetera. But the pandemic flushed them out. And after the pandemic, we're still here. I mean, people. I mean, our best clients before the pandemic, during the pandemic, are again coming back to us after the pandemic. The company continues growing. We continue exploring new markets, and more people get educated about the need of incorporating these products in their diets, right? Mm-hmm. So more and more we have repeat customers. More and more we have larger accounts, right? So in the end, we see it more as a long-term investment, right? And a long-term investment that for me, because my background is finance, I'm coming from investment banking. One of the main conditions that I've said from the beginning is that it has to be cash flow positive. It doesn't matter if we're making $1 a year, but it has to be cash flow positive. I mean, we cannot be investing our hard-earned money into the project, and if it continues losing money. So fortunately, the company has been always cash flow positive, and everything gets reinvested in the company, right? So the idea is now to kind of fortify those foundations, the economic foundation, the business model, the production, the logistics, the marketing, et cetera, to leave the company in really good standing so it can grow without any issues in the future, right? And I think the co-founders have been very, very smart in that sense. We have taken a lot of really good decisions. Every entrepreneur out there is going to tell you that once your business model is successful, you get flooded with offers for equity, for debt, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I want to invest in your company.
Yeah.
And people sometimes, sometimes they make the mistake of, accepting that external money without really thinking about the consequences of that. And again, I'm telling you, I know because I'm coming from investment banking. So, and I say, before we make that kind of decisions, I mean, let's convince ourselves that the company is working, that this is on solid ground, that is growing, and that is cash flow positive. In the future, if we're going to open it up to any investors, so they know that they have a really solid company in their hands.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think before I met you all, I read about you and I read about the ants, and I honestly thought, I was like, all right, this is just a gimmick. This is just like a whatever. I don't know, some ploy I don't know what they're trying to do here. And then I met you all, and the passion about it, and the talking about sustainability and food source and the protein. And I started reading up on it. I was like, whoa, this is not what I thought at all. So, I mean, we've been working with you at our Arte Agave event for many, many years now. It's always very, very well received. And I like to just sort of sneak over to your table and see people like talking to you and looking at it for the first time. And it's very intriguing, but I really love anybody that's working your table and you all when you talk about it, because it's not a fun party thing. It's not, like I said, I really thought that's what it was going to be. Get a bag of grasshoppers and have a party, but you guys are just really all about the sustainability. You're about the nutrition factor. You're all about education with it. So it's really unique to see. So like where does your back from? Where are you from?
Well, I was born and raised in Mexico, in a city called Guadalajara, which is the second largest city in Mexico after Mexico City. My wife is also from Guadalajara, also my brother-in-law, and the other co-founder, she's from Paris, from France.
So are you guys like, is everybody just serial entrepreneurs, or what was everybody doing before? I know you were doing finance, and I'm sure you're still doing that. What was everybody up to before you guys got this company going?
That's a really good question. I would say, well, for instance, my brother-in-law, Najavi, he's the expert in marketing and business development. He's a creative soul behind all this. And he's like, that person with a high artistic sensitivity and sensibility to understand what could be attractive to the market, right? My wife, she has been always kind of like the expert in business development. She has always been involved in international trade. She has government experience, as I mentioned, right? She was working, in developing and opening new markets for Mexican products when she was working at the Mexican embassy. Not an easy feat, but I mean, she gained a lot of experience from that position. my brother, my brother-in-law's wife, she's also in marketing, and she specializes in high-end fashion products, right? And in my case, I'm in finance, right? My background is international relations, but I always specialized in finance, right? In valuations, investment banking, financing, debt acquisition, etc., etc. So, but the funny thing is, like, how we came up with this idea, and it was because it was first, we all were raised with very, very similar values, right? In either France or Mexico. The idea was, when we were growing up, for us, like, having a good meal represents the opportunity to spend a really good time with friends and family. The idea of taking your time to really enjoy your food, to enjoy your drink, to spend time with chatting, catching up. And so that's I would say that's the first large component of the motivation here. And the second one is, like, we travel a lot, and when we were traveling, we realized, like, diets are becoming more homogeneous, and we're losing a lot of really valuable products and that you can find in other parts of the world, right? And that's the thing that's how we came up with the ideas. Why don't we create a gourmet food products company, but not just because a high quality product. Like, let's bring something that has a history, that has value, that has a lot of meaning to us, to the people that are really helping us to bring it to the market, and also meaningful to the clients, to the customers, right? Like, I'm trying something really different. I'm making a difference. I'm all up for it.
Yeah. So you guys have you put together this little dream team, basically. You've got marketing experts, financial experts, business development experts. It's a nice little crew that you have put together. So how's, obviously, you've been rocking and rolling the last 4 years, you said. How's it going now? How is the consumers here in America? Are they into it? Are they still weirded out? Tell me about how, when you first went to Arte Agave,
right,
and people tasting it compared to now, are people still weirded and freaked out, or has it changed a little bit?
All of the above, because
Okay.
you have to make the distinction between, let's say, people who have had the chance to travel to Mexico and they heard about exotic foods, and they try grasshoppers. So for them, it's kind of a more obvious, right? Okay, yes, I know it. I'm gonna try it again. A lot of people say, well, what is that? That's not for me. That's yucky. I don't even look at it. And then you need to do the effort, like the educational effort. Say, you know what? Of course, you don't have to, but if you want to give it a try, you can see X, Y, or Z benefits, and then you tell them more about the company, the co-founders, the products, etc., right? And Arte Agave for us has been always like one of those main, platforms for us to really get people excited about our mission. Because people, by definition, they have already drunk a couple of tequilas, mezcales, and so people kind of come into Arteo. They are a little happy, they are excited, they want to try something adventurous, and perhaps they went all over the Arte Agave party, and they try like 20 tequilas and 20 mezcal. So they want to see something different, and they bump into the Merci Mercado table, right? And that's when people really get excited about it. And I'm telling you, it's such always a fun experience to be at Arte Agave, because we get to get the product to new people, to new customers, to long-term supporters, because a customer is not just a customer who buys the product the following day. We have noticed it, that we have long-term fans, supporters of the company, that they continue purchasing our products on a monthly basis, yearly basis, gift baskets, etc., right? So it's a really nice platform. And also because a lot of people from the industry come and take a look at us, and they say, you know what, this is very interesting. I would like to have a deeper conversation about it, learn more about it, and see what we can do together, right? So definitely, it's Arte Agave for us is one of those platforms where that for us is like it's vital for people to get to know people that go there, because they also are going to be influencers in their immediate circles, right? Their families, their friends. I cannot even tell you how many times we had how many positive experiences we have like that every time that we go to Arte Agave.
Yeah, like I said, I just always gravitate towards your table and just stand back and just watch it all kind of. And people are just so excited still about it, and they're trying it, and they're tasting it. And like I said, every time I have your product, I'm like, I don't. Like I said in the beginning, it kind of freaked me out, but now I know what it is. It's like over there, I'm like, oh, it's just really tasty and salty. I love this kind of salty stuff. So it's kind of a nice little snack. So so you guys make what's your line? You have the grasshoppers, the ants, the worm salts. What else am I missing?
Right now, the main products are the grasshoppers, definitely by far. That, as I would say, that's the flagship product. The second one are the worms, which are called in Oaxacan Spanish chinicuiles, which is just the agave worm. Dehydrated. It's a delicacy. It's a gourmet food product in the Oaxacan / Mexican diet. And we have the salts, right? Like sal de gusano, sal de chapulín. So what we have is just a blend of salts, spices, chili peppers, and either grasshoppers or worms, right? And also we have the powder grasshoppers, like the powder, the chapulín powder or the grasshopper powder that we use it for just as an ingredient for cooking, right? So it is basically that. It's just the grasshopper in 3 different flavors that reflect also, the history, the Mexican culinary tradition, the flavors, right? The adobo flavor, the chipotle flavor, or just plain / lemon-like flavor. So 3 flavors that reflect the wealth or the beauty of the Mexican cuisine. So those 3 flavors for the grasshoppers, and then we have the worms, and then we have the salts, right? And the salts, as we have seen in prior editions of Arte Agave, the salts, I mean, are just a basic kitchen ingredient in Oaxaca, in Mexico, right? So you can pretty much replace your regular salt with worm salt, sal de gusano, or grasshopper salt, sal de chapulín. You replace your regular salt, and then you have a new recipe, pretty much just like that, right? A new flavor, new dimensions, new etc. So we have these products, and then talking about versatility again. I mean, versatility in the sense that you can use it as a the grasshoppers just open up the jar, and it could be your new favorite snack. Like, and we get a lot of reviews from our customers. They say, this is my new favorite snack, and I love it, and I just open the jar, and instead of eating something else, I'm watching a movie, or I'm with the family, instead of eating chips or whatever, I'm eating the grasshoppers, right? And or you can go to our website, and people they're gonna find a lot of very nice, delicious recipes, very simple to prepare, using our products as a base, right? It could be as an entree, appetizers, main dishes, etc., etc. It's just we have posted a lot of recipes that give you a really great idea of what you can do with the products, right?
Yeah, because I was going to ask you what, using a grasshopper powder, what do you put on that? So people can go to, was it mercymercado.com, right? Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah. And
mercymercado.com.
What am I putting? I grab the grasshopper powder, I bring it home. What am I doing with it?
No, pretty much. If it's very simple way, it's just in a smoothie, just
smoothie.
A smoothie, yeah, just a smoothie, or it is a really nice way to add some protein to your smoothie.
Okay.
And or your milkshake. That's it, right? I mean, and or you can use it like personally, let me tell you, like a very simple recipe. It's just grasshoppers. For me, very simple recipe, tacos of grasshoppers, tacos de chapulines. For me, this is just the best recipe out there. You saute the grasshoppers, onions, tomatoes, some jalapenos, and then a little of olive oil. Saute them a little bit, and then you have a handmade tortilla, and then you have an avocado sauce or guacamole if you prefer, but I usually prefer avocado sauce, and just like that, very simple recipe, the most delicious taco ever. Okay, very healthy, very it's just delicious, and if it goes very well with a cocktail, tequila shot, mezcal shot, etc., right? Or your favorite cocktail. And also in our website, we have included also recipes for cocktails, right? So you can see how, again, the salts. I mean, they are very versatile. I mean, you can use them not only in the kitchen, but you can use them for your ideas for cocktails. Definitely, I mean, the uses that you can give to these products is just.
Yeah. So what exactly is in the worm salt? That Sal Dugasano, what exactly is in there? It's
in the worm salt. It's just a mix of spices.
Yeah.
I don't recall exactly how many spices, but
yeah.
I would say like 4 or 5 different spices.
Yeah.
And salt, mine salt or sea salt. It depends on your preference. And a chili pepper, and then it's like just take all those ingredients, just mix them, and then at the end it's like you take a certain quantity of worms, you dehydrate them, right? You dehydrate them naturally under the sunlight, and then you pulverize them, and then when that powder just gets added to that mix of salts and spices and chili peppers.
Right? Yeah, that's one of my favorite products. I mean, I'm a bartender, for 20 years of my life, and that's one of my favorite things is using your guys' worm salts. And we do a lot of virtual events as well, and we'll send that out in the kit. We'll send out in the kit some worm salts with the cocktail, and I don't think people even know. And they're like, "Oh, this is delicious. The salt's delicious. Where do I find it?" I think that's like a hidden treasure. I know a lot of, bartenders in New York, a lot of my friends, we all know about it, but like, to me, that's like a hidden gem, for salts. I always tell people, it's like, you can make a cocktail by just adding or changing a couple of different ingredients. And I said, I always preach, one of the main things you could do is just change your salt. You could use like a kosher salt and like a tahini is fine, but like I said, find yourself a good worm salt. And that's a game changer. Or rim your glass, or just find some citrus and, find a little piece of orange, throw some of that worm salt on there. That's actually the way I like to go. I love cocktails, but I like my mezcal neat, a little bit of citrus, some of your worm salt on there, and I'm good to go all night long. Yeah.
Let me tell you one of the things that I didn't know about, and it kind of gives you a really good perspective on this product, on these food products. But I didn't know, but in Oaxaca, in southern Mexico, it seems like every family develops their own recipe. And like everybody has like in the United States, the pizza recipe is a secret.
Right.
It's a secret, and you you pass it on like in generations. It's same with the worm salt recipe. Like there are certain families, they prepare their salt. They say, this is a recipe. They need to stay here. And it's delicious. And then you try another family's salt, and it's also delicious. And even they have like a common ingredients. I mean, people get really creative, right? And let me tell you, it took us a really long time to kind of zero in the recipe that we have right now. I mean, you have no idea how many iterations of the salt we went through the first years. But because imagine, it's like where are we sourcing it from? Like what ingredients? Where are taking the where are we buying the ingredients from? Right? and the team. I mean, who's gonna develop the recipe? I mean, you have no idea. It's so funny. It's unbelievable. I mean, you see the sal de gusano jar a little bit, and then you have no idea the story behind it, right? But then at the same time, it has been successful, right? People really appreciate it. We have restaurants, bartenders that they have, been purchasing the sal de gusano from us for a very, very long time now. And they usually make confessions like, you know what, I tried another salt from another supplier and there's no way. I mean, it's not comparable. And definitely yours is like one of the best, if not the best in the market, etc., etc. And those kind of comments you really appreciate, right? Because it's kind of, you can see it's a way to confirm that all the work that we have been doing is really paying off.
Yeah. So do you get most of your business, I guess, for the salts? Is it to restaurants or is it to consumers? A little bit of both? Like where's most of
it is both. Definitely, I would say at this, and of course, the pandemic kind of shifted those percentages a little bit.
Right, of course.
But I would say yes, half of our business is from the long-term customers, restaurants, chefs that we have, the relationships that we have developed and maintained throughout the years, and the other half, I would say, is the retail market through our online store, right? People that go to our online store, they get the products, the grasshoppers, the salts, etc. They become repeat customers, etc. And there's a small but growing percentage that has to do with event organizers or public relations firms. Like we sometimes get hit with these surprises. Like I'm organizing a big party for 300 people, and I need this bunch of salt or grasshoppers for X, Y, or Z activities, right? So that's sort of like a really small percentage, but funny enough, it has been growing, right? And that kind of that's like a virtuous circle because a lot of people attend these events, like Arte Agave, for instance. And then they become like a long-term support of the company, and they pass the word, etc., etc.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting. So do you if you're a bar or restaurant, are they buying you from directly? Or are you with a distributor? How does it work to get?
So far, the company, I would say, one of the key items for us is to develop and maintain the relationship, very close relationship on a one-on-one basis. And so far, like at these really large accounts, they still get in touch with us. They send us the email, or they place the order, but we know who they are, right?
Yeah.
But naturally, as the company continues growing, we will need to add more people to the team, right? So we might add people representing us, brand ambassadors, or perhaps develop relationships with large food distributors. That's something that we're still debating internally.
Yeah. Do you have any bars that are buying like the grasshoppers and putting them out as like bar snacks? Do you know? Is there any places that that are doing that?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, but bars and restaurants are by far. I mean, like within the wholesale segment. Yeah. Bars, restaurants are our main clients, right? And you might have again these like a large event organizers, or even movie studios. Like it's funny, like a movie studios or family parks, entertainment parks. Like they I don't know, for some reason they start like getting in touch with us and say, you know what, I'm gonna bring your products. I'm gonna organize a large event, right? So very, very cool, very exciting. Yeah. So, but yeah, bars and restaurants again, and that's how we started, to be honest. I mean, like the chefs, they get in touch with us. They love our products. They bring into their menus, And then people say, you know what, this is delicious. I would like to buy it. And then they look us up in the internet, right? Or they go to our website. But definitely main markets where you can find us, restaurants in New York City, for sure.
Yeah.
Miami, Chicago, Washington, D.C., LA, right? Especially the large cities are.
Right.
But the funny thing is that we receive like these reports on a quarterly basis about like who's buying from where, et cetera, and we are so happy. But now we have repeat customers in the 50 states in the United States, and we were surprised by it because of the logistics and everything. We were thinking like, we were just focused on the main markets along the coast, or like the main or the major metropolitan areas in the United States. But no, I mean, we already have clients in Alaska, clients in Hawaii, and states that usually you would not expect. Like, say, you know what, I'm not gonna say any names, but there are states that you think about that state and it's like these guys, they just eat meat. There's nothing else in their diets. They have meat for breakfast.
You mean Texas?
Lunch. I don't want to say any names, but then you have these states like becoming more and more important customers for us. Right?
Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned adding it to a protein shake, or like adding it to a shake for like what is. I mean, tell me about the health benefits. Like, how much protein? I'm a guy. I like my steak. I like to work out. I like my veggies.
Right.
How many grasshoppers do I need to put in a shake to make it a protein shake?
It's totally up to you. But in theory, and again, I'm not an expert in the health contents of the product. But my understanding is that grasshoppers, by nature, they have one of the highest percentages of protein on the planet, pretty much. Naturally occurring protein. You don't need to add any hormones. You don't need to add anything. It's just like a large percentage of their body mass is protein, pure protein that your body can assimilate. So my understanding is that the protein content could go from 50 to up to 75%, right? So out of 100 grams of grasshoppers, 75% up to 75% of that is going to be protein. Plus you have the amino acids, vitamins, etc.
Yeah.
You have my understanding, zero cholesterol. There are no toxins that you might find in other food products, right? And so that's kind of the health benefit, right? Like it's a very light food product, very easy to digest. So that's another advantage. It goes really quickly into your system because they are very, very light, right? So if you really need to kind of recover energy from a very heavy activity that you just realized, definitely eating grasshoppers helps you, right? Like instead of waiting a really long time to digest a huge piece of steak.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, your body cannot digest relatively quicker a meal based on grasshoppers, right? So it kind of helps you recover the energy that way. And also the sodium content by nature is very small, but in our products there are certain flavors where you might have a higher content of sodium, but that's not because of the grasshopper. It's just because of the recipe, right?
Yeah, right.
Because of the adding of the flavors, right? Because we are adding adobo flavor or chipotle flavor. That's where the sodium comes from, right? And that's one of the things that always that people say, they take a look at the nutritional content label on our products, and they say, "Oh, I see sodium here, so that means that grasshoppers have a lot of sodium."
Just
have
added.
some sodium. No, actually, no. It's added, correct?
Right.
So that's one of the typical clarifications that we need to make.
Well, I think some people just are afraid of salt for some reason. Yeah. Like it's like, yeah, we don't need a lot, but if you're active, you're a runner. Like I go for a run on the weekends. I'm craving salt. Like my body needs it. So I don't know. I think some people just have bad, unhealthy diets, and their doctor's like, cut down on your salt. And I'm always like, I tell my kids, like, I shouldn't eat salt, Daddy. I'm like, no, salt's good for you. The body needs salt. Just don't eat the other junk. And I think it's interesting, like, with, the farming that we have here in America, and then like, our factory farming, and even the pesticides that we use on all of our vegetables. Like, sometimes you think you're eating like a good piece of meat and some healthy vegetables, but it's got all kinds of toxins on it, which is terrible. I mean, I try to eat as healthy as possible, but listening to you, I mean, this seems like the most natural product on the planet. I mean, right? I mean, there's nothing, there's no factory farming here. There's no pesticides, right? Or you're just taking something from nature. And
you just nailed it. I mean, one of the other things that we leverage to give our customers more comfort is that we do have certain certifications that confirm, the process, the origin of the products, how we prepare it, the packaging, the transport of those products, etc., etc. So they confirm the sustainability behind it. We run tests on the products, and it's a really clean product, in the sense that the product that you are putting on your plate, I mean, has had at least 7 or 9 stages from capturing to your plate. In those stages, the product gets highly cleaned up, and again, I mean, it's coming from a field where there are no pesticides, no insecticides, no harmful chemicals, etc., right? And we have certifications to confirm that, right? So that's also a very good point that we try to make to the customers when they are hesitant about, okay, it's an insect, but it's coming from the field. Or from the garden. I mean, how do you deal with that, right? So that's a very important thing that we have. Like, I mean, we would not. Again, I mean, if you take a look at our Instagram feed, you see a lot of kids, a lot of children, that are eating grasshoppers, right? Our daughter loves grasshoppers, right? And my nieces, my nephews, they love grasshoppers. So of course we will not give them something that we know is unhealthy, or it might be of a questionable procedence, right?
Yeah. And what is your Instagram? Is just Merci Mercado as well, right?
It's Merci Mercado _US.
US, that's right. Okay, cool. And then people can find the product at mercymercado.com. Well, listen, man, I congratulations on where this is going. Like I said, when I first met you guys, I was like, I don't know what's happening here, but then hearing your passion and always seeing you at Arte Agave, we appreciate you coming in. What do you guys have for the future? Any expansion and any new product lines that you could develop, or are you guys just sticking with the core line right now?
You nailed it again, Walter. I would say now we have our ears and eyes very open. Again, Merci Mercado has always been defined as a gourmet food products company.
I love that.
So we would like to incorporate new products, and we are open to do that to any product from Mexico, from other country in the American continent, or even Europe or Asia. But again, it has to meet all these requirements, right? So if one of your listeners has a really good idea as to what we can bring to the market, we are all ears. We're happy to hear that.
You're going to get all kinds of crazy stuff now.
Sure thing. And I think, I mean, imagine who could have imagined that we would be, having a company or running a company that sells edible insects, right? It's just crazy. I mean, I could not have imagined that 20, 30 years ago, right? It's just crazy. So, but you definitely need to be a little bit crazy to change the world. Right? That's the way it is.
I love that. And I think, like I said, it's the way you guys have been doing it. I mean, a gourmet company, like I said, I just thought it was going to be some fly by night party, try to make a few bucks kind of thing. And then I met you all and I was like, oh, this is real and legit. And like I said, your packaging and your marketing and the way you handle yourselves is about a business, and it's been really fun to get to know you all and to watch the growth. And I think it's cool. I mean, you're serious about it. Like I said, it's not just like a party favor, and you guys don't treat it like that. So congratulations again on what you've accomplished, and congratulations, for, I know you guys are going to crush it in the future. And like I said, let us know if we can ever do anything for you. I mean, you're always part of Arte Agave, but we love your passion, and we love the product. So thank you.
No, thank you, Walter. I mean, you have no idea how grateful we are with all of you, with you, Walter, with the rest of the Arte Agave. It has been an amazing ride, an amazing experience, and we look forward to continue working with you and getting to know more people, and we don't know. I mean, more great things will be coming up for sure.
Cool. I like that. And you'll be with us on Friday, right? I know you said you're super busy. You're trying to find some help.
We'll be there for sure.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure. When you said we're very busy, I was like, wait a minute. No. I need you guys. So
we'll be there.
All right. Cool. I like that. And again, thank you for taking your time today, and I appreciate you. And will I see you on Friday, or just will I see the other team members?
No, I'll be there. I'll be there. Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, listen, everybody, thanks for tuning in. And Juan, again, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Walter. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it.